Here now with reaction is Louisiana Senator John Kennedy. Senator, I don't know. I do 4 hours on air a day. And from what I understood is all these conservatives like President Trump, they were canceled on platforms like Twitter and Instagram and Facebook, et cetera. We know shadow banning is taking place on many of these platforms. And now all of a sudden the left is fearful that information might not be flowing freely. It sounds like what they really fear is the free flow of information. Your thoughts?
Well, Sean, the Twitter executives are they're very upset this week. I think Mr. Musk made a couple of them cry. I'm sure that more than a couple have gone out to and already bought an emotional support pony. But here's what's going on. Twitter is run by wokers. Wokers represent the crank wing of the Democratic Party. Wokers, as I've said before, are easy to recognize. Most of them eat food only fit for rabbits. They almost always enter a swimming pool by the stairs. They also don't believe in free speech. I do, which means I respect the right of the wokers to have their opinion. But I have an opinion, and here's mine. Experience shows that the wokers who run Twitter are intolerant, they're intemperate, they're foolish, they're unthoughtful. Experience shows that the woker executives who run Twitter, they don't respect any opinion but their own, and they censor all others. They're also not normal Americans. They believe, for example, that kids should be able to change their gender at recess. They believe that cops are more of a problem than criminals. They believe that government employees in Florida have a constitutional right to talk to 5-year-olds about sexuality. Now, again, that's all okay. This is America. You can believe what you want, but they can't and shouldn't censor those on Twitter who disagree with him. Mr. Musk has bought it, and here's what I think he should do. I think he should call in all the woke Twitter executives and say, folks, we're going to start respecting free speech. I promise you at least one will say, Mr. Musk, we can't do that, and I won't do that. That's the one Mr. Musk should fire.
I actually take it a step further. I think you should clean out the whole organization. I don't know if you heard about the one lawyer apparently broke down crying over the fact that Elon Musk took over. Elon Musk said something that really struck me, Senator. He said that for all my critics out there, I hope you stay on Twitter so you can learn what free speech is all about, basically inviting them to criticize him. Now, what's amazing is you have all of these left-wing news people and all these left-wing politicians saying, well, hang on, a candidate or a politician might get banned or throttled back. And I'm thinking, do you not know what has been happening over the last number of years? How do they bifurcate their brains into thinking it's okay to do it to a conservative, but only the threat of it happening to them finally wakes them up to the importance of freedom of speech?
Well, the irony is rich. What Musk is proposing is nothing extraordinary. He just believes in free speech. Now, what does free speech mean? It means that you're not free unless you have the right to express yourself. It means you're not free unless you can say what you think. He is not telling the wokers that they can't express their opinion on Twitter. What he is saying to the wokers, the ones who run Twitter, you can't censor points of view that you disagree with. That's the way America works. That has not been the way that Twitter has worked. And I think it's very refreshing.
Let me ask you, should there be, obviously you got to have a limit. Nobody should be able to make a physical threat against somebody.
Of course, no hate speech.
You can't make a physical threat. That's illegal anyway. Mm-hmm. The question is, what do you do if you really want to have a freedom of speech platform? I mean, any reasonable person with a conscience and a soul deplores real racism and deplores real anti-Semitism. Do you let those people say what they want and assume that the free market will just kind of weed them out and people won't pay attention to them? Or should there be some standards? That gets a little more complicated.
Well, you shouldn't allow hate speech, but you've got to trust Americans. You've got to trust people to be able to think for themselves. I'll give you an example. The wokers, probably the woker executives who are on Twitter, they believe that all white people are racist. Now, I think if they want to, as silly as that is, they should be able to say that on their own platform. But people who disagree with them should be able to disagree and say, no, that in and of itself is a higher form of racism, and here's why. That's called the free exchange of ideas, and that has not been the case on Twitter, and everybody knows it, including the woker executives who run it. That's why they're so upset. And I don't think Mr. Musk is going to back down. My advice to my friends at Twitter who are running the place is, look, there's a new sheriff in town. You go fill out a hurt feelings report, but things are going to be different.
Don't send out a hurt feeling. I don't know why every time you say the word woker, it just cracks me up. It makes me laugh. But they're really out there. Senator, we're watching your race, but you're so popular in Louisiana. I don't think there are even many wokers that live in Louisiana.
Well, we have some wokers, but look, they're entitled to their opinion. How can I put this? I have the right to remain silent. I just don't have the ability. I say what I think, and I have that right as an American. And if you disagree with me, you're entitled to disagree with me. That's what makes America work, and that's what Twitter has been missing.
I have the right, but I choose not to.
I have the right to remain silent, but I don't have the ability.
I don't have that ability either. Senator Kennedy,
I've noticed.
We love having you on. Thank you for being with us.